Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a highly speculative, honestly, just mind-bending alternative history drawn straight from our source texts. We're looking at a theory that literally connects the hot sands and iconic monuments of Egypt to the frozen, desolate wasteland of Antarctica. It's a wildly different way to look at human history, painting a picture of a world vastly different from the one we know today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Who exactly were the builders of Egypt? I mean, we all know the Great Pyramids, right? But the true identity of the original architects, referred to simply as the builders, is shrouded in this massive ancient enigma. Why don't we have a clear, undeniable record of who actually conceptualized these unbelievable structures?
Section 1. The Egyptian Builder Mystery.
Before we can talk about where these architects supposedly came from, we really need to set the stage. To get a handle on this alternative timeline, we need to define a critical term, and that is antediluvian. Basically, this refers to the era preceding a great cataclysm or flood. The theory suggests that to find the true origins of Egyptian architecture, we have to look to an antediluvian legacy. We're talking about a time before a world-altering disaster, a planetary event so huge it literally wiped the slate clean.
You see, Egyptian creation myths explicitly mention these mysterious builders. And what's truly baffling here is that according to this alternative theory, these weren't just mythological metaphors. No, they were literal. The source texts draw a direct, unignorable line between these legendary figures and the actual founders of monumental Egyptian building techniques. That right there is the spark for this entire alternative history.
Section 2. A lush green Antarctica.
Now, I'm going to ask you to suspend your disbelief for a moment, because this is where the theory takes a radical turn. We are moving far, far away from the desert. And this brilliantly illustrates the core geographical claim here, which relies on a stark, almost unimaginable contrast. On one side, in antiquity, we have a lush, green continent bursting with vibrant life. On the other side, the present day, a completely hostile landscape, flash-frozen and buried entirely under miles of dense, unforgiving ice.
The texts propose that the builders actually originated from this very continent while it was still green and thriving. Just imagine that for a second. This lost Antarctic homeland wasn't just some habitable zone. It was the true starting point. It's proposed to be the original, bustling, antediluvian homeland of an elite class of architects who would eventually travel and shape the monuments of Egypt.
Section 3. The Pole Shift Cataclysm. But wait, how do we get from a green paradise to a frozen wasteland? Let's move to and see how this builds chronologically. It starts with Era 1, the lush Antarctic, an epic the texts sometimes intertwine with the whole concept of Atlantis. Then comes Era 2, the absolute devastation of a sudden violent pole shift, resulting in an immediate flash freeze of the entire continent. From that frozen silence, the timeline jumps ahead to Era 3, right around the year 2000 BC, where Egyptian priests suddenly enter the picture. This exact sequence is the absolute backbone of the entire theory.
To really grasp the sheer scale of this, we have to look at the mechanics of a catastrophic pole shift. The theory describes an event of unimaginable violence. We're talking about a physical relocation of the continent straight into a polar zone. Basically, a thriving civilization instantly plunged under the ice, flash-frozen in a matter of moments. It's like a giant cosmic switch was flipped. That staggering cataclysm is the exact event this entire architectural theory hinges upon.
Section 4. Guarding the Master Blueprints.
Let's slow down for a second and think about the aftermath of something like that. If a highly advanced civilization was flash-frozen in an instant, what happens to all their knowledge? How does it possibly make its way to Egypt? Well, the theory points us to an enduring, physical legacy that culminates dramatically around the year 2000 BC. The sources highlight this specific era as a profoundly crucial period. It's the time frame when the remnants of this lost civilization's genius were actively being preserved by a very specific group of people.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is exactly what was being preserved. We're talking about, quote, master pyramid blueprints. The claim here is that in 2000 BC, Egyptian priests out in the scorching desert were actively guarding these precise, highly advanced designs. Designs born on a continent that was now trapped under miles of ice. They were protecting the architectural genius originally developed on that lost green continent of Antarctica, long before the freeze took their cities.
So the crucial point is how beautifully all of these distinct threads tie together. It's like a giant puzzle. It connects the builders from Egyptian creation myths directly to the lost continent of Antarctica. Viewing it as a potential Atlantis, It links the sudden disappearance of this civilization to a violent, cataclysmic pole shift, resulting in the flash-frozen origins of these elite architects. It forms a complete narrative loop, connecting the monumental marvels standing in the desert to the deep, isolated freeze of the South Pole.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative thought from our explainer today. What if the master blueprints of human civilization are still buried under the Antarctic ice? It's a massive what-if scenario, isn't it? It completely challenges us to think differently about the timeline of human history and the secrets our planet might still be hiding, entirely out of sight. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer today, and keep questioning what lies beneath the surface.